All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call Michael when you have a chance.
Thank you, Mayor. Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
There is nothing to report out on closed session. Any conflict of interest declarations from anyone? Seeing none. Any changes or deletions to the agenda? Kevin?
No changes, Mayor.
Thank you. Move into, oh, you changed our public comment.
I made a note of that in an email, but yes.
I missed it.
We
B, public comments. Any person wishing to speak in person on an item not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item not listed on the agenda. 3 minutes are allotted to each speaker. Do you have anyone in our audience who would like to make a public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we had some written comments under public comment. They are included in the agenda. Student liaison report. Michael, do you want to read that or do you want me to? I believe you included it in the email, right?
I did, yeah.
I can pull that up and...
Either way. Race.
Okay, here we go. From IATA. And she is at a track meet tonight, so she could not make it. On October 9th, the Jefferson School held their walk and roll at 7:30 a.m. Since fall is here, students will be learning the effects of fall and investigating pumpkins. I don't know, I'm just reading. On October 11th, the PTA held their fall carnival. For Washington School, I unfortunately couldn't find any information since last month. For the high school, on October 1st, the Crier went back up. The Crier is a website where students can write articles, learn about journalism, and use it as an opportunity to connect with the community. On October 11th, there was a club fair in which students, during their advisory study hall class, went and got encouraged to join the different clubs we have this year. Also, seniors are starting their college applications this month. That is the end of her report. All right, we're moving on to D. Anyone have any comments on that? Questions? Lots of questions probably. D, proclamations. D1, Water Professionals Week. Tonight, Vice Mayor would like to read that.
A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale declaring October 5th through the 13th, 2024 Water Professionals Appreciation Week in Cloverdale. Whereas water is the lifeblood of California, and without safe and reliable water, no community and no sector of the economy, from high-tech to manufacturing to agriculture, can thrive or expand. And whereas now more than ever, the water industry is proud of the important role our essential workers play in making sure our communities have safe and reliable drinking water. And whereas Cloverdale water professionals are responsible for the production and distribution of drinking water to more than 3,600 locations in the City of Cloverdale, and are responsible for the collection of wastewater production in the City of Cloverdale. And whereas Cloverdale water professionals operate 7 wells producing 410 to 420 million gallons of drinking water annually that is distributed by 2 pump stations providing 11 different storage tanks with drinking water. Whereas Cloverdale water professionals are responsible for the collection and treatment of 200 to 220 million gallons of wastewater delivered by more than 33 miles of sewer mains in the City of Cloverdale. Whereas the dedicated team of 2 water operators and 2 wastewater operators monitor all treatment facilities systems 7 days a week. And whereas providing drinking water and wastewater services is of the utmost importance in a thriving community, and whereas we thank the devoted water professionals in Cloverdale for their continued service to our community. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that Todd Lands, Mayor, designates October 5th through the 13th, 2024 as Water Professionals Appreciation Week in Cloverdale, dated October 23, 2024. So ordered, Mayor Todd Lands.
Thank you, sir. Tonight we have our Cloverdale Water Department staff here to accept this proclamation. Would you three like to come forward, if you don't mind? I am going to ask to embarrass you to maybe say something, introduce yourselves, so that I don't.
My name is Darren Hernandez. I've worked with the City of Cloverdale since 2001. I'm your senior water treatment plant operator, so the drinking water side. This is Trevor Anderson. He doesn't like to talk. He's shy, so I'll talk for him. He's been with us for a lot of years. He's invaluable to me. Between Trevor and I, we take care of your drinking water. We do the distribution system. A lot of the repairs and things like that are handled by the utility crew, but we handle all the pumping and the treatment systems itself. And then I'll let Jay speak for himself.
Hi, I'm Jay Robinson. I'm the senior wastewater treatment plant operator, and been with Cloverdale for about almost 29 years. Just want to thank council, City of Cloverdale. It's been a great run, almost to the end. So, anyway, that's about all I got to say.
It's not to the end. Not to the end.
Keep getting close.
All right. You guys mind if I take a picture? Absolutely. Picture.
Used to it.
Congrats.
Good seeing you. Congratulations.
Yeah, I got the last one. That one goes to wastewater.
Thanks for all you do, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
I don't think people understand how important
Things not getting driven for 10 days anyways. Whatever.
You don't have to leave. It's getting interesting now.
Come back.
All right, we're moving on. Let's see here. We are at E, presentations. E1, Cloverdale Active Transportation Plan update for milestone number 3. Kevin, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, sure. I'll just introduce it real quick. This is an update slash sort of seeking input on the current state of our active transportation plan. Just a reminder, active transportation plan is really a plan that helps get walking and biking more accessible in town, and we have our consultant Aaron Ferguson who will talk more about it. This is funded through a grant that SCTA received and is administering it, so it's been very helpful for us, and they've been doing a lot of the work, but they've been keeping us up to date through Aaron's updates. We did receive one correspondence on this from the Bicycle Coalition, which is in your packet. And with that, I'll turn it over to Aaron.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Appreciate you all having me here. I'm going to run through some slides to give an overview of the draft active transportation plan. So next slide. So the purpose of this plan, so the current adopted plan that the city has was adopted in roughly 2014, so it's about 10 years old. And it's pretty normal for cities and local jurisdictions to update these types of plans roughly every 5 to 10 years. And so part of this plan update that, as Kevin mentioned, is being led through SCTA, is doing a coordinated county-wide update to active transportation planning. And so the kind of 3 core focus areas for us as part of this effort. The first is thinking about all ages and abilities. And so when we use that phrase, we're really trying to think about ways in which we can improve infrastructure, or policies, or programs that make it attractive, enjoyable, convenient for people of all ages and abilities to walk, bike, or roll to meet their daily transportation needs. The second is regional connection, and so that's part of that countywide coordination, being able to think about kind of the continuity and experience of traveling across the county. And then the third is implementation. So as part of this planning effort, being able to think about how we want to prioritize the projects that we've identified, but also provide resources to help support implementation. A lot has happened in our kind of transportation planning and engineering industry over the last 10 years, and so kind of updating and refreshing those resources for staff to use. Next slide. The vision that you'll see in the draft plan we have up here, and I'll read it for everyone. Our guiding principles are to improve safety, connectivity, equity, and quality of life. Walking, biking, and rolling shall be safe and appealing modes for people of all ages and abilities to use for everyday transportation and recreation. And so this is a vision that's pretty consistent across all of the local agencies, as well as SCTA's countywide draft ATP as well. Next slide. In the plan, there are 3 goals that we describe, and so those 3 goals are connected and reliable, and the second there is safe and well-maintained, and the third is community-oriented and place-based. And so this kind of all kind of ties back to that vision, as well as the purpose of the plan update, thinking about how do we create this network or improve and enhance what we currently have to make it more attractive and safer and integrated into our various communities. Next slide. So within the plan, we have some sections that talk about and show some maps around what the existing infrastructure is within the city. So this map is showing the existing bikeways. And in the plan itself, it's available on the project website that you can find through SCTA. There's kind of different colors used to identify what streets have bike lanes today, or where we have multi-use paths, or what streets are designated as bike routes today. Next slide. We also, as part of this effort, did an inventory of existing sidewalk gaps across the city. And so there's a map there showing streets where there's an approximate extent of where there's a gap in the sidewalk network, either on one side or both sides of the street. Next slide. Through our engagement, so this has been an effort that's been happening for a little more than a year now. We've engaged with the community a few different ways. So last fall, we had an online survey and interactive map where people could provide input and really telling us what are their needs or their concerns as it relates to active transportation. We also attended pop-up events where we kind of went to the farmers market, we went to the Fire and Earthquake Safety Expo with maps and with information to share and to gather input from folks. And then in the spring, we had another online map and survey oriented around sharing, here are the draft projects and draft priorities we've identified so far, and getting people's input on that. And kind of same topic, we had a workshop, a public workshop here in June around that as well. And so in addition to us doing technical analysis and integrating kind of new industry best practices, we also integrated community input into the recommendations. Next slide. And so this is, in the plan, you'll find maps as well as table summaries, lists, identifying the new proposed projects. And so on this map, we're showing new bikeway projects and crossing projects. And so here, kind of a few things about this approach. So one piece is looking at where we have the facilities, so trying to kind of build out the coverage of the active transportation facilities. And then the second piece is thinking about what those facilities are. And a big shift in transportation and planning and engineering over the last 10 years has been to recognize that for some people, biking with traffic is really stressful. And so as we think about what impacts that stress level, it's really how many cars are on the street with them, how fast are those cars moving. And so now we try to identify opportunities to really separate people walking and biking from cars, so physically give them their own space, but also where there's higher traffic volumes or higher speeds, think about ways we can provide some physical protection as well. So in the plan, you'll see that reflected where we have multi-use paths or what are called separated bike lanes along the streets where there are either more cars or higher speed traffic. Next slide. Also, part of this effort is then taking those sidewalk gaps and identifying opportunities for those to become sidewalk infill projects and improvements, as well as crossing improvements, which are for people walking or biking. Next slide. This map shows just what does it all look like together. If you were to kind of look at the existing, what's out there today, bikeway network, and then with what is proposed in the plan. So it gives a better sense of how the pieces are envisioned to fit together. Next slide. With all the projects that we identified, we did some prioritization, so really grouping into three different buckets, a tier 1, a tier 2, and a tier 3, so kind of a high, medium, and low priority. And we did that using these criteria here, where we thought about kind of proximity to things like schools or transit service, ability to improve safety specifically at locations that maybe have documented safety concerns, and generally looking at where can we kind of provide stronger connections to kind of downtown community hubs, or either now or those that are planned or anticipated in the future. Next slide. So that kind of is a lot about the infrastructure side of things. The plan also includes a number of policies, and these policies are organized around the 3 goals that I mentioned earlier. And the purpose here of the policies is to really try to support implementation in different ways. And they touch on kind of a variety of topics that I noted here, but looking at ways to improve and enhance safety in a manner consistent with local and county-wide, like Vision Zero action plans, ways in which to continue to facilitate maintaining existing and newly built facilities, policies that support education and encouragement programs, those, and kind of integrating into that the updated resources for staff to use as they think about actual implementation of these projects. Next slide. We also identify a number of opportunities for funding sources. So there's a lot of projects to work at over the coming years, and so we identify regional and state funding sources as well as federal funding sources that could be used for various projects for implementation. Next slide. And then finally, we have in the plan, identified some metrics that the city staff can use to track progress towards implementation. So both in terms of kind of what types of projects are getting implemented, but also with respect to outcomes as we continue to look at safety metrics like those involving collisions. Next slide. So the full draft of the plan is available on the project website. It's available for public comment and review through the end of November, at which point we'll finalize and be looking for kind of the final to come back to council for adoption in early 2025.
Great, thank you so much. Let's go through questions and comments from the council. Go ahead, Councilmember?
I just have, down here. I just have one question pertaining to the Crocker Bridge. The pedestrian walkway was just completed on the bridge, and we had a ribbon cutting, I guess it was last week. But the question is there any plans to extend that bus service to the end of Crocker Road where it meets River Road to pick up people that want to come to our downtown? I know it's not within the city limits, but it sure would be nice if we could integrate a small stop or two on the other side of the bridge. And I don't know if that's ever been looked at.
Yeah, as part of this effort, we didn't look at adding new transit stops. We looked at connectivity to existing ones, but we can certainly, look into that and see if there are any existing plans to add a stop there.
If you could do that, I think that would go a long way, especially with our students when they're trying to get from Birdie Lane and out there on River Road. If they could have at least one bus stop there where the road splits, I think that would go a long way to make some people happy. So if you could look into that, that would be great. Thank you.
We did receive one letter from the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition, and I think some of the points they made are valid, that we need more bike access to Cloverdale Boulevard. So I think it would be great if we could improve that, because I think, children getting to school and everything, it's really important. And a lot of people, even some adults, use bicycles in Cloverdale.
Thank you.
I think that the comments from the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition were great, and actually she sent it into as a letter, and I wrote her back and I said, make sure you put it in the portal, so send her the link just to make sure that it also gets in there. And I think that they have a really good feel for what works for biking and walking in Cloverdale and what doesn't. They do the rock and roll, I can't even say it, walk and roll to school every year. But I think that our council members bring up a very good point, is that I know you're here, to talk to the Cloverdale City Council, and we're concerned with the infrastructure, within our city limits, but we're also part of a larger population outside the city limits, and it's particularly the Cloverdale School District. So, they need to definitely be part of the conversation, and those families need to, be included. But I did have, I did want to ask you kind of a higher level question. When I was at the Cal Cities conference last week, I was able to hear, maybe for the second or third time, from the Caltrans staff about the road charge pilot and the direction that we're probably going in to, to build and maintain roads and basically collecting revenue for it. And I'm just wondering if there is any consideration about, how we will be likely funding roads in the future, and if we can incorporate maybe better design at the city level so that we're not having to maintain a lot of stroads, really wide streets that are very expensive for us to maintain and are very difficult to fund. And if we can look at, is there any effort with the ATP to, help cities kind of change their design standards so that they're not only safer, but they're more economical going forward?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, within the ATP, kind of our scope was to help identify the proposed projects to kind of enhance an existing network and build out the network. And then we provide a number of industry resources and best practices related to those design decisions, that as projects come kind of off the page, if you will, from the plan and move into a project development process, those resources really are the places where you get into another level of detail, where you can think about those design decisions in terms of, based off of available right-of-way, how you're going to allocate it, what materials you want to use, how that relates to maintenance costs and things of that matter. So the resources are in there. We stop short of being prescriptive in terms of how you use them.
Yeah, I think that it's been my experience, though, that by the time you get to, we need to improve the intersection, you really needed to have done the work and revising your design, your standards first. It just makes it a lot easier. And I think that that's a direction that we should definitely head. But most cities in California, if we want to be able to bring our costs down and make our streets safer for everybody, we need to revise those standards and get ahead of it before we're at the point where we have to do a repair, and we have to spend money on an intersection, but we repair it to the same standard when we could have done better. So, but I think that this is a great start, and hopefully it will kind of, push cities in that direction to kind of update their design standards first.
Thank you very much. I just have one question, and I'm completely on board with the ATP and all that, and I like it. I like the bike, walk, and roll, I guess, but is there, and this is, I'm sure there's everybody in here that lives in Cloverdale. I've driven around here in the bikers. Is an element out there to educate the bikers so they follow the rules when you're driving around town and they blow through stop signs and they're cutting all these cars off? We're one collision away. I know it's not on the data, but there we are. So I would like to see, with all the ATP, throw in a little educational element to the bikers. They may know it. There's a lot of professional bikers around here. But maybe a little education element and say, hey, these are the rules you have to follow, and that's going to be a safety thing across the board to incorporate this whole and get this implemented. So I'd like to see that in there also.
Yeah, absolutely. There are, as part of the policies kind of supporting the implementation, there are policies related to that road user education and encouragement, I think is the kind of the phrasing, but that's definitely included in Cloverdale as well as SCTA's countywide.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll just be quick. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was great. For Cloverdale to know this is funded by a grant, and it is used to help us get more grants for roads. And so this is very, very productive for us and a great tool for us. And so I thank you for everything. I'm going to open up to the public to see if there's any questions or comments that anyone would like to make or ask. Anyone? Great. If you, thank yous are good. Questions you want to come up and ask, I'd love it so that everyone could hear. Please come forward.
Thank you for your presentation. You said that the bike routes in Cloverdale are all connected, but that has not been my experience. Can you address that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably maybe more accurately, our vision for the bike network in Cloverdale is to make it, yes, well connected. And so, yeah, kind of the figure there's a figure in the draft plan that shows existing plus proposed, and so that's what we were going for. Yeah.
Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, I'll bring it back up here. Anyone?
I just wanted to thank you for all your hard work in your presentation, and I look forward to the bike paths being even better in Cloverdale. Thank you.
Anyone else have any closing? Thank you so much for everything. We really appreciate all your hard work on this, and we look forward to doing more with it. So, Kevin, do you have anything?
Just one final thing. Having this plan and adopted does give us ways to write conditions of approval for development projects that may have a identified path in front of it or trail. So it's another tool for us to, help write those conditions.
Thank you for that. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving into F, consent calendar. All items under the consent calendar will be considered together by one action of the City Council unless any council member or member of the public requests that an item be removed and considered separately. Are there any items that the council would like to pull? Seeing none, I'll ask the public.
I don't want to pull an item. I just want to make a comment that there's three really, these are wonderful progress on some great issues. And I just wanted to call out Hector and Kevin for the contract for the grazing for fire management. It's just so innovative and forward-thinking, and it's just an example of really strong leadership in that department. So thank you guys for doing that.
Got a thumbs up.
Is that an item on the consent?
It is. It's a F3.
The grazing agreement,
Okay, any members of the public that would like to pull an item off of this calendar? Seeing none? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'd like to move the consent calendar.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bagby, a second by Morgenstern.
Thank you, Mayor. Start with the motioner, Councilmember Bagby,
Aye.
Councilmember Morgenstern,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolter,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wheeler,
Aye.
Mayor Lance.
Aye, passes 5-0. Thank you all. Moving into public hearings, G1, ordinance amending sections of the Cloverdale Municipal Code in order to clearly define the off-street parking standards for recreational vehicles in residential areas.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. This is the public hearing for the potential RV parking amendments that will amend the zoning code. This has been before the Planning Commission and Council several times. At the August 28th meeting, we pulled it off the consent and were asked to make a couple of changes. I think the two parts of concern during that August meeting was, one, differentiating between the front yard and the backyard, and then specifying zoning districts where some of these rules would apply. I think we've gotten there. I mean, I wouldn't say these are perfect, but this is kind of a imperfect ordinance to have, but I think we're getting closer. We're a lot further along than we were with the original ordinance. It does give us an opportunity to take care of some of the unsightly trailers. So just real quick, it does continue to keep the hardscape requirement. So if it's parked in the front yard, it can't be on the dirt. It does clarify that if an RV is visible from the right-of-way, that it has to be in good condition. So that means it could be in someone's backyard. If you can see it from the street, that it would need to be in good condition. In the front yard, it still needs to be perpendicular. If it's in the backyard, it can't be in the rear setback, which is 20 feet. So 20 feet from the rear property line, it would not be able to be parked there. It clarifies that this applies to R1 and R2 zoning. So in those zonings, one RV would be allowed per lot, regardless of which zone it's in. So again, I think we've come a long way. I think it's good. We can always take this back later if we need more amendments, but I think we're at a point where it's much better than it was. It's going to give us the tools to take care of the unsightly RVs, and I think it's a fair balance between RV parking and the last one, again, just for the R1 and R2, really was getting to the comment about the legacy lots, the bigger lots. So we did clarify the zoning. I just leave it there. I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit, so.
Great, thank you for your hard work on this. We'll go through everyone. Councilmember Bagby? Councilmember Wolter? Councilmember Morgenstern?
I want to say I read it completely, and I really like the way it's been refined.
Someone will always find something, but this is an incredible start, so thank you for this. Anyone in the public would like to make a comment on this?
Good evening. My name is Lariva Miles. I've been a resident of Cloverdale for 16 years now. I almost don't believe that I've been here that long, but I was the resident who asked to have this removed at the August meeting because I had some concerns about how passing this resolution might affect the property where I live, and I appreciate the changes and revisions that have been made. So I just wanted to let you know that everything that I've read in the revision really covers the concerns that I had, and I appreciate you taking the time to take a second look. I know you'd taken lots of looks before, but to take it one more time from another perspective. So thank you.
And thank you for your input on the last meeting as well that made this happen. We really appreciate it. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back up. Final for comments, or someone want to make a motion?
I just got one thing.
Go ahead, please.
I just want to thank Kevin on this. I know this was kind of kicked around a lot, and it's kind of been a thorn, but I mean, thank you for putting all this hard work into it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the kicking. is more than the ordinance that got kicked around on this one, so thank you. Anyone that would like to make a motion?
I'll offer the item.
Thank you.
I need to offer by title only, as city attorney. I'm looking for it, I just can't find it.
I'll do it real quick if you'd like. It doesn't matter. Here, I'll do an introduction and first reading by title only and waiving reading of the text of an ordinance, attachment 1, entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Cloverdale amending Section 18.11.060 Recreational Vehicle Parking and adding Section 18.04.050 parentheses C, allowable paving in the required front yard of the Cloverdale Municipal Code."
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have a first and a second.
All right, I will start with the motion.
No.
Mayor Lance.
Aye.
Councilmember Wolter.
Aye.
Councilmember Bagby.
Aye.
Councilmember Morgenstern.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wheeler.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, moving into legislative reports, letters of support. We have one letter of support. Kevin, do you want to go through it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, since our last meeting, Mayor Lance did sign 2 letters of support. One requested from Alexander Valley Healthcare for bond financing. These were both timely, so we just we had to respond in a certain time frame. So, and the second one was another letter of support for funding for the SMART train, seeking funding from Healdsburg to Cloverdale.
Questions or comments? Awesome. All right, move into subcommittee reports. Anyone have any reports? All subcommittees and minutes and media are available on our website. Councilmember reports.
Just a quick verbal update. So late breaking news, SMART was just notified that it has received a substantial TIRCP grant to get to Healdsburg and through Healdsburg, and that is key in being able to qualify for the funding from Healdsburg to Cloverdale. So it's huge news, and watch for more. I don't want to totally steal their thunder, but
That's great.
It's coming north, and it's a very substantial grant, and it's really going to be exciting. It includes money for both the train and for the multimodal trail, which of course is just essential for making sure that SMART and Great Redwood Trail continues to march north, and with the ultimate goal of connecting that the hiking trail from San Pablo Bay to Humboldt Bay, and of course continuing the SMART train all the way to Cloverdale. So it is happening, and it's moving very quickly at this point, and it couldn't have been done without community support and support of staff. So I just want to recognize the contribution that our staff have made to making sure that Cloverdale gets its due, but not just Cloverdale, but our whole region in northern Sonoma County. Geyserville looks to tremendously benefit from it, and honestly, as soon as Cloverdale residents are being able to take advantage of the SMART train and the multimodal trail, it's going to benefit the economy of the entire region. And so I think they're going to wonder why it took them so long to make sure that we got the train eventually. So I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to take a ride on it in the next couple of years.
Please go ahead.
Councilmember Bagby, a quick question. Does that funding, is that in addition to the separate funding for the bridge going over the Healdsburg?
That's correct. That's completely separate. That was, it really is a testament to our legislators. We like to think that we're forgotten here in Cloverdale. We're not. Jared Huffman has been fighting for that money. He had to fight tooth and nail to get money for the pedestrian and bicycle and rail bridge. And honestly, I can't understand. We actually had some, let's just say Bay Area agencies who like to tout that they support communities to be bikeable and walkable, and an absence of a viable pedestrian and bicycle bridge over the Healdsburg Bridge basically cut off downtown Healdsburg from easy access to Memorial Bridge, and it cut off a very underserved neighborhood south of Healdsburg from being able to either walk or bike into, just being able to go to the dentist or go, pick up your groceries or something like that without having to get into a car. So Congressman Huffman was tireless and relentless, and I think that was really what broke open a lot of the funding and the support for this. I don't think we would have gotten the TIRCP without having had the funding for that rail bridge. So it took McGuire fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we were funding SMART to Healdsburg, that we are eventually going to get Cloverdale into the planned Bay Area 2050 plus plan, which is, in process. And that was all it was really predicated on getting the money for the bridge, and that's probably why we got the TIRCP money as well. So it was really a group effort of a lot of dedicated individuals working very hard to make sure that we're going to meet our greenhouse gas reduction goals, we're going to meet our transportation goals, we're going to be able to serve seniors in the area who are going to rely more and more on public transportation. And I think that there are going to be a lot of people south of here taking a lot of credit for this, but it was a team effort.
Well, thank you for the hard work you put into it and keeping Cloverdale in front of everybody's face. Appreciate it.
Any other verbal reports? All right. Council's direction on future agenda items. Does anyone have anything? Okay, well, then we'll move on to city manager report. Kevin?
Just really quick, we added another rec class to our fledgling recreation program, which is archery. And so we're looking forward to that. It's going to take place at the entrance to Porterfield Creek, and we've already got a couple of people signed up. So keep your eye out. We're going to keep going on that and go as far as we can and really bring some rec to town.
Great. City attorney? Nothing to report. All right, well, with that, anything for the good of the order? Seeing none, we'll adjourn at 6:42. Next meeting is November 13th. Thank you so much.
13.